What if the school bully picked on the wrong girl? One with a connection so powerful it could change everything. This isn't just a story about high school drama. It's about resilience, strategy, and the moment arrogance finally collapses in on itself. Stay with me until the end, because what begins with one bully's arrogance ends with his downfall. This is the story of Maya Williams, the quiet new student who turned the tables on the most feared guy in school. Maya Williams stepped off the bus, clutching the straps of her backpack as she stared at the towering front entrance of Clearview High in Houston, Texas. The autumn air smelled of cut grass and hot pavement. Students huddled in groups, laughing, chatting, living in their own worlds. But Maya? She felt like a ghost, like she didn't belong anywhere. This wasn't her first new school. It was her fourth transfer in 3 years. Some kids move because their parents get new jobs. Maya moved because she needed fresh starts. Over and over again. And this time she promised herself one thing: stay invisible. But fate had other plans. His name was Bryce Carter, tall, athletic, the quarterback. He had that untouchable confidence, the kind that made people either follow him or fear him. Around him were the usual crew, boys in Letterman jackets laughing too hard at his jokes, nervously shifting when he spoke. Maya recognized his type immediately. She'd seen guys like him before, the self-proclaimed kings who ruled by intimidation. She tried to walk past unnoticed, but then it happened. Bump. Her books scattered across the floor. And from behind her came a voice she instantly knew. Bryce, calm, mocking, like a lion toying with prey. He smirked down at her. Haven't seen you before. You knew? Maya kept silent. She gathered her books, brushed past him, and walked away. She'd played this game before. The best way to win was not to play. But Bryce didn't like being ignored, and that was his first mistake. The next day, Bryce made sure everyone knew who his new target was. He tugged her backpack in the hallway, called her out in front of everyone, and even had his friends accidentally trip her at lunch. Still, Maya never flinched. No yelling, no crying, no reaction. And that silence. It unnerved him, because bullies thrive on reactions, on fear. And Maya wasn't giving him either. But when the final bell rang, Bryce cornered her outside, his smirk wider than ever. What, you think you're better than me? And then Maya did something that stunned everyone. She laughed. Not scared, not nervous, just amused. And with that, she whispered the words that would change everything. You should walk away. You have no idea who I am. Before Bryce could respond, the sound of a roaring engine filled the street. Heads turned. A black Dodge Charger Hellcat pulled up to the curb. Windows tinted. Paint gleaming. The window rolled down. And sitting in the driver's seat was none other than Vin Diesel. Yes, Vin Diesel. The laughter drained from Bryce's face. His smirk vanished. His friends froze. Because in that moment, the so-called king of Clearview High looked small. Maya smiled for the first time. Still think I'm weird? She walked past him, opened the car door, and slid inside like it was the most normal thing in the world. And as the car pulled away, Bryce Carter stood speechless for the first time in his life. By morning, the entire school was buzzing. Who was Maya Williams? Was Vin Diesel really her dad? Her uncle? No one knew for sure, but one thing was certain. Bryce Carter had been embarrassed. And in high school, that was fatal. Bryce tried to fight back. He and his crew trashed Maya's locker, tripped her in the cafeteria, called her names loud enough for everyone to hear. But Maya, she didn't break. She didn't even react. She simply straightened her books, sat down at her table, and kept going like nothing happened. And that silence, it spread. Students started whispering that Bryce looked desperate, that he wasn't as powerful as he seemed. Because when people start laughing at the king instead of with him, his kingdom begins to crumble. The final blow came 2 days later. Students gathered around Bryce's locker, phones out, whispering, laughing. Maya pushed her way through to see what everyone was staring at. Plastered across his locker were screenshots, texts, messages, every cruel thing Bryce had ever said about people behind their backs, students he pretended to befriend, teachers he mocked. Even racist and sexist remarks, things that couldn't be excused as jokes. And the timestamps, they weren't old. They were recent. Bryce stormed into the crowd, ripping papers off the door, his face pale. his hands shaking. But it was too late. The damage was done. His friends backed away. His audience had turned on him. Maya didn't have to say a word. She just watched as Bryce Carter's reign collapsed in front of the entire school. That afternoon, as Maya climbed into Vin Diesel's Charger, she finally smiled. She hadn't shouted. She hadn't thrown a single punch. She'd simply waited and let Bryce destroy himself. And that's the thing about bullies. Their power only lasts as long as people are afraid of them. But once the fear disappears, so does their throne. Maya Williams taught everyone at Clearview High a lesson they'd never forget. Sometimes the quiet ones are the ones you should fear the most. So what do you think? Did Bryce get what he deserved? And if you were Maya, would you have done the same thing or gone even further? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe because more stories like this are on the way.